Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here from the northern part of Vietnam. I'm still in Hanoi and I want to try the egg coffee. I mean, I've tried it before, but I want to show you guys as well. And I'm not going to one of the most famous places in the old quarter in the QuangKiem area because I've been there before and it's actually nothing special. It's more because it's a famous shop. Yeah guys, I'm more into the real local experience than the typical oh yeah, it's straight ahead there, Chợ. It's called Chợ Cafe. I mean, just on the name it seems very local, so yeah. It looks not bad guys. Let's check out this shop guys. Not many people, not a very good sign. It's like no one's here. Cho anh hỏi em có cà phê trứng không? Nhưng mà trên menu có mà. Thế thì có gì? Để anh xem. Thì có. Vậy cho anh cà phê nâu đá nhé. Alright guys, I was supposed to have the egg coffee, but the guy said they don't serve egg coffee anymore, but they used to have it on the menu. That's why I saw it on the Google Maps review. So I was a little bit disappointed, but I thought I'm already here, so why not? You know, I've had egg coffee before and I can also make egg coffee myself at home, so it doesn't really matter guys. I just decided to have a regular coffee with the café no, the brown, which is with milk. In the north they call it café no coffee brown, and in the south they usually call it café sữa đá. Café sữa is milk and đá is ice. Yeah, it's that typical Robusta, but it's very fragrant. You know, it's very fragrant. So if you don't mind the caffeine content in the Robusta beans, then you can just go for the local coffee all the time. Since they don't sell the egg coffee here, I thought why not just sit there and I can. I thought of a story I can just share with you guys. I also wrote an article on my blog where I share this story, but it's related to coffee and Vietnam, and especially the northern Vietnam as well. So I can just share you guys quickly about that story because I've been fascinated about Vietnamese coffee for many years. So now I remember back in the day I used to make it myself literally every day. So I had a lot of these fiend, it's called fiend, like the filter. I had several different kinds and I had always had kilos of coffee, you know, and when I went to Vietnam, and I always brought back kilos of coffee back to Europe. So it was pretty crazy guys. But I remember the first time I was here in Vietnam, which is a long time ago actually, and at the time I could also already speak Vietnamese, so I have never been in Vietnam and not been able to speak Vietnamese. So my experience here is quite different from many foreigners, because they maybe come here, they maybe learn about the culture and the language, and then they can talk to people. But mine was kind of reversed. I was already into language and the culture, so I had ability to speak right away. So I never used English in Vietnam and stuff like that. But one thing happened was that it was in the northeast, in a city called Hải Phòng, which is about 1.5 hours from Hanoi east. And it's a lovely city. It's actually the third largest city, even though many people don't know about it because it's not very, there's not many tourists coming there, so that's why. But anyway, I was there and I saw there was a local coffee shop. Just to give some context guys, there's a famous coffee company called Chungwen, and they have their official stores all over the country. Back then they didn't have an official coffee shop in this particular city, Hải Phòng. So there were other cafes kind of like this one, and they just put like a sign Chungwen, like not that they pretend that they are the official shop, but just to showcase that they serve the Chungwen coffee. So I was very excited. I was like, wow, this is so nice. I'm gonna have Chungwen coffee. I was like really addicted to that coffee back then. So I saw on the menu Okay, so Chungwen, they have many different kinds, and they have numbers. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and then some other types of coffee that don't have a number. So the normal ones are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 8. The 8 is the most expensive one. And this maybe sound weird, but I was so excited at that time, and I was pretty young as well. So I didn't really look at the menu. I just told them I want Chungwen, 1 cup of Chungwen coffee with condensed milk, iced. And they just, okay. And they didn't ask me which number I wanted. And I didn't think more about that as well. I mean, in hindsight, of course, I should have just been aware of the different numbers, but I just told them. I was so excited. So anyway, so they served me the coffee, and I was sitting there outside. It was a lovely view outside of, and the cafe was just kind of like next to the opera house, and it's like a square. So it was very nice to just sit there and, you know, chill with a coffee or drink or something. Anyhow, so when I was supposed to pay, I said, I asked for the bill, and obviously it was in Vietnamese. And I said, how much? And they said, 80,000. And I'm like, what? 80K? Because 80K, it's even a lot today. Like many years later, 80K is a lot for a cup of coffee. So I was like, how can it be 80K? Normally I pay like 15, 20, 25 maybe maximum at the other shops. And they were like, but you chose the Chungwen, the most expensive one, the number 8. And I'm like, I didn't say a number, and you didn't ask me back. So I missed the fact that there was numbers, but you guys didn't clarify as well. So I was like, okay, a little bit weird. And they were pretty aggressive as well, which is not that common. I mean, this city in particular is more famous for kind of like gang members and just more crime in general. And people are more fierce there in general. You should be more careful there. That's true. But these are staff at a cafe, right? And they were in the wrong. But I'm going to talk about this in detail later about cultural differences when it comes to admitting faults and stuff like that. But anyway, and they were aggressive back, and they said, you have to pay. And I said, okay, relax. But back then, like I said, it was my first time there in Vietnam, but I was familiar with the culture anyway, like since before that. But I was still like kind of like shocked. I was like, are they serious? Like, I didn't even choose the number. So for me, I was like, but did you give me the most expensive one? And they say, yeah. But the thing is, what probably happened, but now I'm just assuming, maybe they just charged me for the expensive one, but they didn't actually put in the expensive powder into the filter. Only God knows, and they themselves. But that doesn't really matter anyway. But I kind of like didn't say much because I knew that I should have checked the menu more thoroughly, and I should have seen the different numbers. And I knew about the numbers, but I didn't like, I don't know, I was too quick, you know, and young and stuff like that. So I just said, okay, that's very bad that you charged me for the most expensive one. But I said, why didn't you clarify? And they just like, they didn't even respond. They just like, yeah, basically just said, you wanted that one. And I was like, okay, it's fine. That's a thing that nowadays, many years later, I'm very careful in general. I mean, it's not that you have to be careful all the time, but you should make sure about a price before you pay it. And of course you have to judge what kind of situation it is. Maybe it's just a I don't know, like a restaurant or shop. Like, they cannot like scam you that much, but in general, like a service or anything, you should just be very clear about the price before. So it kind of makes sense, you know, just to do that. But I just want to emphasize that, because it's not really like because I'm from Scandinavia, and Scandinavia is still different from the Anglo-Saxon countries and stuff like that. So in Scandinavia, for example, you can really not like scam someone like that, like, hey, you know, hey, you didn't ask the price, so I just said whatever price. You cannot really do that. In my blog article about this story, I also told another story that was linked to this topic, and this was in the south. I just want to share with you guys, why not just make a short kind of like podcast episode here with my coffee. Yeah, the coffee is really good, guys. Anyhow, I was driving from Ho Chi Minh City to Cần Thơ, which is 180 kilometers from Ho Chi Minh City. And 180 kilometers doesn't sound like a very long distance, but it takes several hours to drive from Ho Chi Minh City down to Cần Thơ because of the quality of the roads and the cadence of the traffic. And I've done that trip several times, and my record was 3 hours and 5 minutes. So I never made it under 3 hours, but I was very close one time. But anyway, this time I was driving from Ho Chi Minh City down to Cần Thơ, and I made a mistake of driving in the middle of the day. Obviously you shouldn't do that because it's very, very hot outside in the south all year round. You should go early morning is the best. But anyway, and usually when I drive this from Ho Chi Minh City to Cần Thơ or vice versa, I don't stop. So I just go straight and I refill petrol if I need to. If not, I just go straight. I don't stop for food or anything like that. But this day I was driving, it was very hot like I said, and I was not in a rush, so I thought, hey, why not just stop here and get some coconut water, because I love coconut water. And just to get to the point, it was like a hut, like a shed just by the side of the road. It's like, yeah, it's literally just like a shed, and she's selling coconuts from there, this lady, and there was no sign about the price, so I just told her. And I had like face covering and I had coverings everywhere, so at first she has no idea I'm a foreigner. She just thinks I'm from the north or something like that, because I told her, hey, well, give me one coconut and I'm gonna sit here. She's like, okay. And then I take off my head covering and stuff, and she said, oh, you're a foreigner, haha. And we small talk a little bit, and I had my coconut, and then I was supposed to leave. So I get up and I say, hey, how much? And she said, hey, 15,000, I think it was 15. This is also a long time ago, 6-7 years ago. So 15,000 is a fair price. But she told me, and the way she smirked was a little bit like weird, but she said, hey, you should ask the price first, because, you know, I don't scam you, but many other people will. And, you know, maybe it's because I am an INFJ personality, so I felt that a lot when she said that. I was just so sad, because she kind of made her, it was like she really wanted to emphasize that she's not a scammer and she's good, but everyone else would do it, which is not true, by the way. But she still has a point there with asking the price. But anyway, so I said, okay. I just said, hey, if they would say a ridiculous price, I would just say, hey, I'm paying the normal price. Like, if someone would say the triple price, which would, I can say confidently, it would never happen to me, I think. Maybe because I speak the language and stuff like that, but I just said, okay, if that would happen, I would just pay the normal price and just leave. I wouldn't care. When I was continuing my trip down to Cần Thơ, whoops, I was just thinking about that time in Haifa with the coffee, the 80,000 coffee, and it's kind of similar in a way, like, but they had a menu, but I should have made sure which one I chose, and she didn't have a menu, so maybe I should have said, hey, how much do you sell coconut? I mean, it's a normal question as well. It's nothing weird to ask that before, but it's kind of like also in my nature as well, coming from Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden, just maybe you kind of assume that people will not just rip you off. So the moral of the story is just that you kind of just need to be a little bit careful, like you should be in many places in the world. It's not like, oh, only here or something like that. So just ask before is a good thing, no matter what, and then it's fine. You know, you will be fine. So anyway, I just wanted to turn this episode into just sharing this story, because I couldn't get the egg coffee. but I had the normal coffee, which was very good as well. And I don't feel that bad actually, because normally when I drink the Robusta, I feel a lot because I'm sensitive to the caffeine. Yeah, and it's a very hot day as well. It's very hot. It's 37 degrees outside. So I have my, speaking of coconut water, guys, I have coconut water here. I buy coconuts in bulk and I open them myself and I just pour them into bottles actually. Because coconut water is just very hydrating, so it's very good to drink if you do sports or if you just live in a hot climate like I do in Saigon, for example. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that. You can check out the blog posts on perpetuallyabroad.com, and if you like it, please leave a comment under this video, and you can subscribe if you haven't, and please share and like the video as well if you like the video and you want me to continue making this kind of video. And I would love to hear from you as well if you have experiences with anything from coconut to coffee, or just thoughts about what I talked about today. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I wish you guys the best, and I'll see you guys in the next video.